The illusion of security in a paycheck. For many people, a paycheck feels like safety. It feels predictable. It feels responsible. Money arrives on a schedule. Bills get paid. Life continues. This routine creates a sense of stability, a belief that things are under control. But this feeling is often misleading. Not because paychecks are bad. Not because work is wrong. But because the security they promise is often thinner than it appears. Why paychecks feel safe? A paycheck feels safe because it is familiar. Most people grow up seeing it as the goal. Go to school. Get a job. Earn a steady income. This path is reinforced by parents, teachers, and society. It becomes normal. And what feels normal feels safe. A paycheck also removes uncertainty. You know how much you will earn. You know when it will arrive. You can plan around it. Predictability reduces anxiety. So the paycheck becomes more than income. It becomes emotional reassurance. Security is often confused with consistency. Consistency feels like security, but they are not the same. A paycheck is consistent. It shows up regularly. But consistency does not guarantee durability. Something can be consistent and still fragile. A bridge can stand every day, until the day it collapses. Paychecks often work the same way. They feel stable right up until they are not. The single point of failure. Most paychecks depend on one source, one employer, one role, one decision that is not yours. This creates a single point of failure. As long as that point holds, everything works. But if it breaks, income stops. No matter how skilled you are. No matter how loyal you have been. Security that depends on one external decision is not true security. It is conditional stability. Why this risk is often ignored. Most people do not think about this risk because thinking about it is uncomfortable. It challenges a core belief. It introduces uncertainty. So the mind avoids it. As long as the paycheck arrives, the risk feels theoretical, abstract, easy to ignore. But ignored risks do not disappear. They just remain unprepared for. Jobs are not the enemy. This is not an argument against employment. Jobs provide income, structure, and skills. They support families and communities. The issue is not having a job. The issue is believing the job itself is security. A job is a tool, not a guarantee. Confusing the two creates vulnerability. The quiet trade being made. When people rely entirely on a paycheck, they make a quiet trade. They trade control for comfort. They give up influence over income in exchange for predictability. They accept limits they did not choose. This trade is not wrong. But it is rarely acknowledged. And what is not acknowledged cannot be managed. Time is the hidden cost. Paychecks are tied to time. You earn by showing up. By being present. By exchanging hours. This creates an upper limit. There are only so many hours you can sell. Only so much energy you can give. As long as income depends on time, growth is constrained. Security that cannot grow becomes less secure over time. Inflation quietly erodes stability. Even steady paychecks lose power. Prices rise. Costs increase. Money buys less. But paychecks often change slowly. What once felt sufficient becomes tight. What once felt safe begins to stretch. The illusion of security fades gradually. Not in a crisis, but through quiet pressure. Why paychecks encourage short-term thinking. When income is fixed, focus narrows. People plan around the next paycheck, the next bill, the next expense. This creates short-term thinking. There is little room for long-term strategy when survival feels immediate. The paycheck becomes the center of attention. Not growth, not leverage. This limits options over time. Comfort can delay awareness. As long as the paycheck covers basic needs, urgency is low. There is no immediate reason to rethink the system. No pressure to build alternatives. Comfort delays awareness. People notice risk only when comfort disappears. Often too late to prepare calmly. The difference between income and security. Income is money coming in. Security is resilience. Security means you can absorb shocks, adapt to change, recover from disruption. A paycheck provides income, but it does not automatically provide resilience. Security requires flexibility, options, buffers. These are built intentionally, not assumed. Why skills alone are not enough. Many people believe skills guarantee security. They are valuable. But skills still depend on demand. Markets change. Industries shift. Roles disappear. Skills without ownership or leverage still rely on external systems. True security comes from adaptability, not just expertise. Ownership changes the equation. Ownership introduces control. When you own assets, systems, or outcomes, Income is no longer tied only to presence. Value can persist without constant effort. Income can come from multiple directions. Ownership does not eliminate risk, but it distributes it. Distributed risk is easier to manage. Why most people delay ownership? Ownership feels risky. It requires responsibility, uncertainty, longer timelines. Paychecks feel simpler. They outsource complexity. They reduce decisions. So people delay ownership not because it is impossible but because it feels heavier. Short-term comfort wins over long-term resilience. The illusion of loyalty as protection. Some people believe loyalty protects their paycheck. They stay long. They work hard. They avoid conflict. While loyalty has value, it is not a shield. Decisions are often financial, not personal. Companies optimize for survival, not sentiment. Relying on loyalty for security is emotional, not strategic. Why security should be built, not felt. Real security is not a feeling. It is a structure. Savings. Multiple income streams. Transferable skills. Ownership. Flexibility. These things may not feel exciting, but they reduce dependence. Security built intentionally is quieter than security assumed. The psychological trap. When people believe they are secure, they stop questioning. They stop learning. They stop exploring. They stop preparing. This is the real danger of the paycheck illusion. Not that it pays too little, but that it numbs curiosity. Complacency grows slowly. And by the time it is noticed, options have narrowed. Why diversification is calm, not greedy. Building other income streams is often framed as ambition, but it is really risk management. Just as investors diversify portfolios, individuals can diversify income. This is not greed. It is prudence. Depending on one source is risky. Depending on several is stable. The role of awareness. Awareness changes everything. When people see the paycheck clearly, they stop fearing it. And they stop worshiping it. They use it as a foundation, not a ceiling. Awareness allows choice. Using a paycheck wisely. A paycheck can fund security if used intentionally. It can build savings, seed investments, support learning, create buffers. The paycheck is not the problem. Unquestioned dependence is. When income is used to build resilience, the illusion fades. Why this conversation feels uncomfortable. Talking about paycheck security challenges norms. It questions systems people rely on. It introduces uncertainty where comfort existed. So it is often avoided. But avoidance does not equal safety. Clarity is uncomfortable at first, but stabilizing in the long run. The quiet shift in thinking. When people let go of the illusion, thinking changes. They ask different questions. How can I reduce dependence? How can I increase optionality? How can I build resilience over time? These questions lead to calmer decisions. Not rushed. Not fearful. Just intentional. Security is about options. The most secure people are not those with the biggest paychecks. They are those with options. The ability to walk away. To pivot. To pause. Options reduce fear. And fear is often the real driver of poor decisions. Why this matters long term. Life is unpredictable. Health changes. Economies shift. Industries evolve. Security that assumes stability fails under change. Security that expects change adapts. The difference is preparation. Final thought. A paycheck can support your life, but it should not define your security. Security is not guaranteed by consistency. It is built through awareness, flexibility, and preparation. The illusion of security is comforting, but clarity is stronger. When you see the paycheck clearly, you can use it wisely. Not as a promise, but as a tool. And tools are most powerful when understood.